All right, we are on YouTube. Welcome to another episode of Rough Shot Ramblings.
Yep,
I know,
absolutely.
I have to be
Oh,
silly. It's the end
oh
of the
yeah,
week, and
yeah,
it's
we're
been
having a crazy day.
it's just been a week. It's just been a week. It felt like 3 days, but it's been a week. Hang on, I gotta right, shut up myself. Yeah. So we kind of came up with an idea of let's now. Did you want to do cards? Because we did say, well, what do you want to talk about? Because we always have a
Whatever's
gazillion topics. We kind of did like
whatever's
a
going.
we got like a the idea was focus. It's going to be really easy, I think, to get distracted and going, hey, come on. It's going to be easy to get distracted and off our path and kind of,
We can
you
do
know,
both, right? We're
and then
super.
maybe pull something because I mean I still have like a layout over here. I don't think I have these over there, but um I could do my naughty
Yes.
tarot, but I'm not gonna do that because it's got some bad words in it.
Well, change the word, like
Yeah,
fire
but when you're
truck.
holding it up and it has it, it's right there.
Finger across the word.
I don't have that many fingers.
Oh, shit. Okay, well, I'm out of possibilities now.
I know. I just have to pick a different deck. That's what I'm saying. And I'm kind of staring at this one because I don't use this one very often. I think I've used this on Rob's typical skeptic, and it's kind of a cool deck. But anyway,
Oh, so
never
we're
thought,
going to start with that
yeah,
first.
huh?
Okay, well, I'm out of possibilities now. So we're going to start with that first.
With the focus.
Okay,
We
we're
should
going to
talk about
focus.
focus. How can we do that? How can we maintain our focus? And it's got because everybody's going to have a different focus. Some people have to focus on their job, their family, their money, so it's going to be relevant in a specific but general way. Does that make sense? Or maybe in a general but specific way. That makes more
Yep.
sense. General but specific to you. I don't like general readings, but I think when you have something where it's talking about a particular topic like focus,
Yeah.
because it's come up over the whole week, and it's like I'm really struggling with focus because I got this different job with I'm dealing with people that need to avoid recidivism and yeah. And I'm, with school, I'm not letting go of this. Because I can't, because this is my mental health. Oh God, help us, right? Whew. But
Oh,
yeah, so what do you have? What did you get on focus? Because I think mine was very specific, but it came up with a reading that I had happened to listen to, and then that I was like, oh my God, that's like what I wrote out for. I was like, for somebody, I was like, oh shite, that's for me too. I need to include myself in on this. And then you go, it's like I don't focus. It's like, what? What?
yeah.
So do you have
Okay.
Oracle there or do you have Tarot?
I have oracles.
Okay.
I have tarot. I have all sorts, but right now I'm using
You
oracles.
You have me. I'm all sorts.
Yeah, yeah, it's like me. I'm a bitsa beep thing.
Yep.
Okay, focus. Okay. Oh no, I like this card. This is one of my favorite cards. This is one of my favorite cards. This has come up a few times. It's perfect for this shift. Perseverance.
Yes.
Okay, perseverance. And okay, I'll read it to you. It says, you have the power within yourself to conquer any challenge and come out stronger on the other side. Trust in your resilience and your ability to preserve. So, sorry, to persevere, to preserve, to persevere. So when I got this card 3 weeks ago, because we're almost into the fourth week of this event, that whatever it is, energy shift that we're going through. And it's really making us, I call it tea time, transparency, exposure, and accountability. And we are the ones that are going inside ourselves. We're doing the deep shadow work, and it's not just us doing it. We're also recognizing the shift in others around us. So we're seeing that they're also shifting out of one state into another. So in the focus part of this is where we can become aware of the patterns so that we recognize with our realize that there is a change, there is a shift, and we are shifting into that. We are shaking off, we are shedding off that layer that we don't need anymore. And, when you think about what focus is, we are moving at such a rate to shake off all of these old frequencies, and we can go right through the rabbit hole. This is ancestral stuff. If you want to take on board that ancestral stuff and do something about it and shake it off now is the time to do that. What's not yours, return it, send it back, release it, let it go. There are many ways of doing that. When we get back into the focus part, that's like we're having a conversation before we came on air, and I'll share the experience later on. And it was about shifting our focus just a fraction so that we appear to be looking through our peripheral. But in actual fact, we're still looking and watching what is going on in front of us. So by doing that, we're allowing ourselves to be in focus, but with two sides. We're going through that shift. So if you can see that center, there's a line there. You've got you've seen what you want to do. Now you want to shift your focus. So you've got in mind what you want, your focus. My surroundings, what do I want? I actually want to live in a cave. I want to have blackberries and pricks all around me. So I've got my boundaries. This is what I want. So I shift the focus from the square room that I'm in now with all my bits and pieces. I shift that to I want to be in my cave. So I can still see both sides right now, both very clearly to me right now. So we are going through that shift process. So we're manifesting the realms that we're in. So back to the cards. I mean, this portal goes forever. Okay, so we just back on focus. you know, Perseverance, persevere with the ride. Persevere with, okay, you are stepping into I like to believe for myself, a higher version of what I am right now. I know that every single day I shed a shell of myself because I'm improving. What am I improving? I'm growing my soul energy. And this time it's not going to be harvested. Yes. So, would you?
Yeah, so I have to kind of sanitize this a little bit. What I got that I wrote, because I write the dates down when something comes in, it's like, okay, I guess I need to write down these ideas. So give me what needs to be written down. And my handwriting is pretty good and very clear once I get focused on it. Focused. So what it is that we have to have a clear and focused mind to do all of our work better than ever before. This is something that's available to us. And it was something else that when I was playing, for some reason, this song keeps coming up, and it's Invincible.
Oh, yes, I know the one.
Yeah, but it's the Skillet. So it's a Christian band, but if you put those words in, that's why I sent you the lyrics to it.
Yep,
Because
I
there
know
are
that
several
one.
other ones. If you look through that, that kind of tells us who we are. This is from a Christian perspective, so it's really that focus, if you will, is outside of self, and ultimately it is not. It is within us.
Yeah.
But when we have a clear and focused mind to do all of our work better than ever before, we are when we're done with our day, we have the ability to realize that our mind is now clear and unfettered. And at that point, we are able to work towards our personal heart's desires. If that is separate, the focus can shift, and it's okay, because for me personally, I have a very different type of job to keep myself safe, because I go into some pretty unsavory areas in the city. I have to be having my focus all around me.
Mm.
When I come home, there's like this decompression that happens, and it's like a refocusing. So when I get that, when I'm not, I focus on my personal heart's desires. That's my
Mm.
focus. And
Yeah.
that's something for all of us if we're in that kind of a situation, because this is my heart's desire, to be able to reach out to people and commune with people of like-mindedness and possibly gain a more enriched life. And if my life is enriched, that means your life is enriched. So
Yeah.
kind of keep that in perspective. And when we sleep, so sleep deprivation for me has been
Mm.
huge. Falling, cannot keep my eyes open past like 9 o'clock in the evening, waking up at 11, falling back asleep, waking up at 1. So it's very, very broken. And you need about at minimum like 90 minutes to get that cycle, but you
Yeah.
need really more than that. It needs to be broken, because when you first start your sleep, your brain is doing certain things. It's like cleaning up all those memories that it has to make a decision on whether you want to keep it or get rid of it. And if your brain doesn't have that ability to clean up that synaptic trash, you're going to be foggy, you're going to be tired, you're going to be confused. Um, but my focus for sleep, and it's not a spell, it's not an affirmation, it's a declaration. And we have to kind of watch our terminology with that too,
Yeah.
because to me, it's not a spell. It's not even an affirmation. It's a
Yeah.
declaration of what I embody, not what I want to embody, but what I embody. Claim it, keep it, hang on to it. Screw the rest of the world and what they say. When you sleep, I say it is deep, it is a loving, and embraces the 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 things in life that you seek, because what you seek is, probably people have heard it, it seeks you. That's going to come back toward you. And I'm 100% on that, because I leave things out there. This is what I want. I don't hold on to anything. I don't necessarily have specifics. Kind of do, but not. You know what I mean? You kind of lay out what you want for a manifestation process, and you just let it go. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
okay with outcome. And you kind of start seeing things, regardless of what's going on in the immediate moment, but over a period of time, could be days, weeks, sometimes even hours, then boom. And when it hits you in
Yeah.
the face, even though you were saying that this is what I want, when it arrives,
Can you see it? Yeah.
no, it's like, what the hell happened? This
Yeah.
actually did happen.
You get
Wow,
exactly, yeah, this is
cool.
one, that's what I've
Gratitude,
learned.
gratitude. And it spans time. And it spans realms. And it's that whole, like you were saying, it's that focus, realignment, the shift, the sift. It's just everything all, yeah, it's like everything all at once. And it's like, I'm so confused. But
Oh
I'm so,
no, no, shake it off. Just shake it off, because man, everything that you said is what we're doing. We are realigning with our new higher version of ourselves. We're stepping into that more awareness. So we've
how
got
about
to,
an expanded version of ourselves?
yeah,
And
well, we do,
expanded
yeah,
doesn't mean that,
no,
but
well, our
expanded
energy,
doesn't, what?
our
Go ahead.
auric fields, our muckabars, our energy bases, our energy bubble,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know, it grows from us. So the more that, we get in touch with our inner self and actually go, okay, well, whew, that's a bit more than I thought was coming, but I'm ready for it, because they keep saying we're not ready for it. But they don't have the right to say that. They can just, if our heads explode, they explode. But pull that band-aid off and let it, let us choose for ourselves. And this is what I'm seeing right now. And I'm cautious with this because by growing, I mean, I've seen this in other visions that they've given me, other journeys that they've taken me on, and it seems to be a reoccurring pattern right at this particular time. We're growing our energy, we're becoming aware that we are more than what we thought we were yesterday. And this energy power that we have, as soon as we step into that, we've released ego. That doesn't play a role in it. It's done its job and it was useful, but now it can just hang on for the ride. You know, now we step into our higher inner awareness, and every day we're going to find something new. We're already manifesting what we are desiring, and it will be right in front of you. And you may not see it straight away, but it will just unfold in front of you. Remember, I always put down, we get exactly what we ask for, but you might not expect it, you know?
Oh, I guarantee you're not going to expect that, mofo. You're really not,
Yeah.
because a lot, and for me, this is almost like a childhood thing that's coming to fruition. Because
Oh
I think
God, is
back of all the, and it's not something I've shared with you, but there are childhood things, and I have heard readers from 2 years ago that are popping back into my mind that are saying, "Oh my God, they said this is something from your childhood, your dreams that you're going to actually experience in this life." And one of the things is, I think that this is an opportunity for us to do is healing ancestral trauma. And this goes beyond memory. This goes beyond any of the QHHT, BQH, whatever you want, past life regression.
yeah,
You can go through all that shite. It doesn't really have the same impact when you have the revelation within yourself. Because I haven't gone through any of that stuff. I've gone through a couple of things that had nothing to do with this. This is something so much deeper and more profound that it just blows the freaking mind that when these things come through, you're going to
yeah,
know. You are going to know it. Are you going to accept it? Are you going to take action on it? Because it's scary as all. I'm telling you, it's scary. So one of the things that you were talking about, focus, and I think this is what's going to be helpful, is this high priestess.
oh yeah, yeah.
So one of the things for her, I'm reading out of this
I
book,
like
is
that.
intuition and knowledge. I did I got something going on Saturday, so I recorded my Saturday noon thing to play at noon. But this is all about the elements of water, moon, and Heniel. I don't know that, some people are into the archangel thing. I'm
Yeah,
kind of not, you know, but if you are, but there is a sacred knowledge, and the divine feminine is that heartfelt. It's not the action part. It's that heartfelt aspect, and it's that subconscious mind. So I think that's where that focus is going to come from, and that's why it can be so shocking. And that's why it can sometimes turn up as a tower, but it can also turn up as something where you're going to be more like a not really co-op, but it's like you're like they say, it's like you're not by yourself. You're never by yourself. And it's like, yeah, I'm good with that. Or yeah. And for me, I've always done things on my own. I've always had to fend for myself. you know there were those that were in the life before this, that was in this time, if you know what I mean. It was like talk to the hand, and I still had to just deal with whatever I got going on. But
yeah,
this is also, it's like the Three of Cups came up, and it's like this party time. And this is time for us to realize that, whether this is
yeah.
you or people that you know in this life, there's like all this amazing, caring, loving, nurturing energy that's around us that we have available, that people, you have the option. You can accept it, you can move on from it. It's up to you. It just depends on whatever's going on in your particular life, that
Yeah.
you're going to be able to maintain your own focus. Ficus, that's a tree. That was a lack of focus.
Oh no. Oh no. Yeah. Okay, so I've done a little bit of a reading on my chart that I do,
Yes.
and I got, oh wait, oh, here we go. I'm gonna do the glasses swap again. All right. All right, so Pithro. Okay. Directing your chosen path. Now this is to do with focus as well. All right, choosing your okay, directing your chosen path. And then we have the card, which was the animal cards that I used, which was the armadillo, which was protection. You may have to be what is it? Discerning. Okay,
Yeah.
discerning. All right, and in the book message, because I do book, rune, and card, I got life is a gift. Every chance to be your true self. So basically, to me, this is the same message as what I said earlier on. Your focus, you're directing your path, you're directing your chosen path right now. You're manifesting your direction, what you want from it. Okay, you have to be discerning through your journey so you know which way you're going. Once again, for this whole month, it's been the path has come up. Remember the stone path with the temptation on the side, and stay on the correct path, and then it forks off, and oh geez. And then we have, every chance to be your true self. Okay, to be your true self. So every time you get that opportunity, that temptation that comes up along that path you're taking, that's when you go, okay, I can recognize you. I know what you're trying to do. It's not going to work this time because I've got focus, I've got direction, and that's where I'm going. Nice knowing you. I'll catch you on the next round.
He sounded like
Okay.
the story of the Wizard of Oz. Stay on that brick road, man. You stray off into those poppies, you're done. Right?
Well, there's a lot of different forms of temptation that are coming up
Yes.
right now. And,
Yes.
since this whole AI thing started, I'm, watching it unravel. And, in the near future, I can see it being everybody's going to, see things like AI has been around for however million, way before us, okay, way before us, and that ancient technology is tapped into. I mean, you think about how many times we've been here, how many
Yeah.
times we've been reincarnated, how many
Mhm.
times we've had our soul essence drained from us to that point of dit, and then they bring us back and we regrow that energy again. And then boom. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
just
And that's what that whole idea of the reset, that makes a lot of sense. That might put that a little bit into perspective because, and they don't care if there are remnants left. I mean,
yeah,
I
yeah.
worked in a building not so long ago that was definitely Tartarian. You're talking about farm fields everywhere. How many things have been buried under the hundreds of years of soil and plants and whatnot? And you have right in the middle of frickin' nowhere this massive uh, church
Mm,
held by the Catholic Church, and it's pristine. And there's this school, and they have the little outbuildings that can kind of attest to this idea of a global network of free energy, because I know there's a lot of that's going around, and it has been for a number of years. But you get to a certain point of awareness, and that is when somebody pushes that button. And what is coming up now, and I think that when that little link that you sent to me about, what's his name, David, you
No,
just sent
Dan
to me
Winters.
this, yeah, Dan Winters. So, you know, and I've seen him a couple of times, but I mean, really, if you listen to it, this is a very ancient thing, and it appears
Yeah,
new to us because in our particular lifetime, it's revelatory. People have been talking about this whole free energy thing for quite a while now. And you know, people have lost their lives over it. I mean, even back as early as like the 1940s. I'm
well,
convinced that in the 1800s, and one of the reasons why people had these, and I talked to somebody that used to have a kind of introduced us, right? That they had their channel that was talking about how there was this massive reset. And I said there were these village purges, and my family went through that. And I
yeah,
feel like it's kind of like they were ancient people who were suppressed again, just like some of the people are being suppressed now, are being lifted up. And that reminds me about the Anunnaki. I had something that I can't share here. We're going to have to talk about this. I want to get your input on this. Don't let me forget. I'm going to write it down because I will forget. Yeah, it's not something for public consumption, but the thing that I kind of feel like that a lot of people are pulling towards is this idea of I'm okay within myself. I don't have to put up your BS. Talk to the hand. Um, you know, for a time of healing, that's good. But when you start shutting off, you're segregating yourself, you're not dealing with your own trauma, you're not
yeah,
dealing with somebody else that you might be able to help. So
yeah,
shutting off is good for a time. This is not a time. For me, the weekend is it. And I'm going to go right back out there and I'm going to sit in somebody's house that's covered in yuck and I'm going to talk to them because they are in a yucky life. And you just try to help them realize that their life is not as bad and it can get better, but they got to pull themselves up by the bootstraps and you just give them the resources to do it on their own. So it's that kind
yeah,
of idea that it's not my party, it's their party, but I have the ability to talk to people that
yeah,
will lift them up. So I'm not going to close myself off.
yeah,
5 o'clock on every night. This is my time. I do what I want. And the curtain is drawn. And I might have little snippets throughout the day. I probably have messaged you now and again when I'm at work and I take a break because hey, I'm allowed. I'm allowed to take a break now and again.
yeah,
I mean, I want to acknowledge that sometimes, but yeah, that does have to happen. So this
yeah.
popped up. So being
Oh, yeah,
closed off for a period of time is not a bad thing. You know, it's kind of like when I tell people when they're going through, you know, they had a family member die or they had some kind of trauma happen in their life, whatever that was. It's like it's okay. It's okay to
yeah,
sob.
yeah,
You just don't want to live there. Don't live there. Don't stay there so long that you don't want to leave the house. Had people like that too.
yep,
And when you pull away, you accept that, you close yourself off for the healing part, but realize this is part of the birthing process. I don't care what it says at the bottom.
no, we all read our cards
We don't.
differently.
I mean, none of this applies because birthing's messy, not really comfortable. Some die. So keep that in mind too. Some may not be able to carry forward from this plane to the next, and they're going to be
Yeah,
gone. I mean, to the next part that we're going to be experiencing through this crazy bit of business we're going through.
yeah,
And I mean
definitely.
that's got to be okay too. You know, I was ready when I told you about that individual that I had to deal with today. I was okay with the idea because I kind of felt like not long for this world. But I felt an urgency to get this person the help they needed. And I think based on what I told you earlier,
Yeah,
I kind of feel like I accomplished that goal. which makes me go, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
and I can let that go. Whatever happens, I mean, they could take their last breath this weekend. I'm okay with that. I did what I needed to do.
Yeah.
Every single time we
Yeah.
have to do what we need to do to get the job done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, when you become aware of something, you can do something to change it. You
Yes.
can better the outcome. I'm cautious with that. I more work on first intentions. So like, a little girl let's go over a balloon, and a sporadic thing happens, I run and grab it and I save it. And then, oh, frequency hit. Geez, that was a big one. Whoa, I don't know what that was about. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Um, um, whoa, that got me. That was
Hey,
me.
focus, focus.
Yeah, okay. Uh, what was I saying for that? It really got me.
No, seriously, it is, and it's okay. So what you just experienced, again, it's just like when you have something that comes through, and I think that this was a directional adjustment. So if you're not able to realize what you're talking about before, not a good thing or a bad thing. You know what I
That was a
mean?
bit of a reset.
Sometimes we need a kick in the ass to get us going in the right direction. We all
Oh,
can
that's
say, yeah, I've had that happen to me.
Yeah, yeah. I worked as an advocate, and so I know the job that you were describing, and you go into some pretty rough conditions. Now, I started doing it because I was given the opportunity. I saw it early. I saw it because I was once in those positions.
Yes.
And and it's about if you want help, okay?
Yes.
If you don't want help, then I can't help. And
Yes.
that's one of the biggest things that I learned along the way was not everybody wants that help.
Correct.
Okay.
I have a
But
colleague
others
that will
feel so,
say, I I appreciate the position that you're in, but I am not here to work harder than you.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's kind of a hard way to put it, but ultimately that's the truth. You
If
got to
when
do
they're in
the freaking work.
when you're in that situation, hard has to work.
Yes.
Hard has to
Yes.
work because there's a brink that you can go over and not
Yeah.
and not come back from.
Yes.
So, if I can see that and I throw that lifeline and I can speak, communicate at your level, then we have a chance. We have a chance to go get back up over that rope, get over that hill, whatever it is. But if those connections don't work and I can't think of anybody that could help because my communication isn't getting through, then I have to step back and I have to make sure that I don't take on any of that on board. All right, I have to leave that where it is and move on because not every, you can't save everybody, and you have to be right within yourself to even step there, to even go there, so that we don't take on other people's burdens. When we first a couple of days ago when we we're discussing what we were going to talk about, I was doing a lost and found. I was on a lost and found journey, and it kept coming back to the amount of regular occurrences of these very old people, like great grandmothers, coming back and taking me for a walksies all through my life and having missing time, missing child, and then appearing right in front of people out of nowhere and this sort of stuff. And it's brought me back to the illusions and the abilities that these greys have. And one of them, they showed me right at the early start. This is back in 89. And now they're giving me, okay, because when we go along our journey, we pick up what I call map codes along the way without even realizing, like date, time, location, faces we remember, names, smells, tastes. And we take this with us into reincarnation. Right, every time we go through, we're going to bring something from this time now into our next time. And I'm hoping my next time is like, I'm in, the Garden of Olympus, and if I want wings, I've got them. If I want a tail, I've got that too.
I was talking to someone like 4 or 5 years ago, and I have this, and I don't have it as much anymore. But I was getting, it was like mid back up to like right at the bottom of, okay, I'm gonna get technical, C7. So it was right
Oh yeah,
below
yeah,
C7. Yeah.
yeah,
So and it was halfway down, lumbar.
yeah,
And I had this incessant tingling, and I never said anything to this individual when I was talking to him. It was Bill Hobart, and Bill says, "Oh, if you feel tingling in your back, by the way, it's your development of the wings." And I'm thinking, well, that was like a freaking weird thing to say, but okay.
yeah,
And I kind of feel that now as an etherical manifestation. It's not something that's literal that you'll be able to see in this particular space, because that's not where we live. That's
yeah,
not, and a lot of things like even what you said that you have shared with me about the ships beforehand is the same type of idea, that it's based on what you're willing to perceive. It's also about where your focus is, if you will. Hi, Arizona. It's all about that. So if I want to get kind of geeky, you have those cones and rods in the back of your eye, and when you look up at the stars, a lot of times you'll see a star off over here, and when you look over at it, you can't see it anymore. And it's
yeah,
because how that light enters into your eye and hits those cones and rods, it will be able to see it and transfer that information into your brain. And that's how you see it. And whatever those things were that those creatures realized that, oh, you are looking at us,
yeah,
that's when they can shift. And I think that's kind of like the same idea. When we shift our perspective, that's how we can get the benefits of seeing things that we're not going to like be really directly involved in, maybe. um it's almost like there's this thing about wanting clarity and revelation, but it's also when you receive that clarity and revelation, when you are focused, are you ready for it? Because we
yeah,
can ask for all those wonderful things. Are you ready for it? And like I shared earlier, this is like some childhood thing that I've been thinking about for since I was probably 10 years old. And I'm
yeah,
thinking, okay, well, I'm going to use this Neville Goddard process. I'm going to just leave it open. Seriously?
yeah,
About maybe 3 months. Next thing you know, it's like, what the frick just happened?
yeah,
I really, to this day, I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand how it happened after that, even up to this day. Sorry, I'm being a little cryptic, but I have to.
yeah,
Because it's extremely personal. But each one of us has that ability to do when we focus, and it's about embodying what we not necessarily don't have. It's about embodying what we already have and what we want. And
yeah,
I think that's the focus, and that's the shift. When you get that shift and all that crap falls away, you now can see with clarity what it is you really want.
yeah,
And what I wanted, I was very specific in some very good detail, but I left the rest of it to the universe. And guess what? It happened.
yeah,
So
yeah,
all of us have that ability, whether it's a relationship or money or a job or career or family. You want to repair something in the family. I fully believe that's available to all of us. And whatever you're going to focus on.
yeah,
And I've
exactly.
been I've been hearing that this is generational. So if you
Yeah,
focus on something that's challenging, not something that's easy, guess what, puppy? it's gonna happen. So be careful, like they say, be careful what you
What you
wish
wish for.
for, because
Exactly.
it's gonna
Exactly.
happen. And
Yeah.
you're gonna need some roller skates, I'm thinking. Hmm. You
Yeah.
mentioned, yeah, we're gonna have to talk about something about the Anunnaki
Yep.
when
Yeah.
we're done. But
I'll
as
just,
far
I'll
as
just,
hmm,
no, I'll just throw in the experience that we had that you're describing earlier on. Last evening, I got a weird sensation. Just opened my eyes, looked out the window, and saw this big bright light. And quickly woke up my housemate, and they looked out and they saw it as well. So and it went really, really bright, and then it saw us watching, and it shrank down invisible, gone. And it was like so spontaneous, but we saw it. There's no doubt we saw it. And then we're like, yeah, we saw it. And then we're like, okay, we have to, not look at it. And so when we changed our focus, we shifted our focus mentally. It thought we were focusing on a tree in the particular distance, but we knew we were both watching it out of the peripheral. Now that I've given out this information, it's probably going to work that out and I'll have to come up with something new. But, we adapt, so do they.
yeah,
But, but then it came back as soon as we had shifted our focus. So that it thought that we were focused on the tree. It came back, but it didn't come back alone. There was four of them in a row doing different signals to each other. And then when the main one realized we were watching it, because we'd obviously lost our focus of the tree and what was happening over there with these lights moving about, and then it just went really, really bright, as if this light was coming straight in our window. And I mean, it was like miles between us, miles between us. But it was so low to the ground that I felt like I could have just been standing underneath it. But
yeah,
they knew,
mm,
okay, whatever it was, they knew that we were awake, that we were seeing them. All
yeah,
right. I basically sort of think that there's, they can see and hear and feel us and know what we're thinking and doing. They just can't come to the conclusion of how we go from thought to action. Like our brains, the brain doesn't do the what is action over thought. Where if you think it enough times, you can program yourself to go and do that action. Like if you go, okay, I'm going to start my exercises I know this sounds crazy, but I'm going to do my exercises by visualizing I'm riding, I'm walking, I'm rowing, whatever the exercise is, and you do that repetitively every day for 7 days, then you turn around and you get the machinery out and you get on it. Your body is already, the mechanics, the information, and everything is already there. You're already doing it. You're already doing it. So now you're doing it. So in between that stages, that's what I'm seeing. They can't quite work out, and yeah,
that's
and
really deep. I think that's deeper than you realize because thinking does precede actions. And the one thing that popped in my head was because I was had the music scholarship and all that kind of business. But the whole thing about music is you learn. Uh, they did studies on people who were given just the paper keyboard
yep,
and they just listened to the music. They just listened to it and they didn't have sheet music or anything. And they went along with it and they had in their imagination, if you will, that keyboard. And I may be getting something a little amiss on this particular study. It was done many, many years ago. That they found that when they actually got those instruments, uh, pianos in this particular instance, that they were able to pick it up really, 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 really quick, all
mm,
of them. And it was boom, it just kind of happened. It reminds me of the movie, oh gosh, I don't know, maybe 1960s. Uh, Something Preston was his name, and Shirley, whatever her name was from the, I don't
Bessie,
remember. Anyway, no, it was called The Music Man. You can look it up, but it was a musical. And it was the same, and I'm thinking it was like that was the same idea. Cause he had them do practice it. They would sing it and they would pretend to play their instruments and the whole town rallied around. He was a scam artist. But the instruments came and then when they all sat down to try and play, they played this song without music. They just played it really badly, but they played it. And I think that's the same idea that when you have this thought and you have it replayed, and this is a manifestation tool. Thoughts are things, they're physical things in your brain. When those synapses fire off, they create light. That's a physical thing in your brain. And when you
Yeah,
think it often enough, those synaptic tracks get deeper and broader and more
yeah,
cemented. When we were talking about sleep, you go to sleep, your body needs to get in there and sleep. It'll trim that stuff off because you're not going to use it. But if you get up in the next morning, that shadow of that thing is still there, and you can recreate that if it's in your heart's desire. Ooh, something that's I'll just that kind of takes it in a whole different
yeah,
direction. So that might be for something else that was like really freaking deep. But the whole idea is that it is the focus. If it is your focus for whatever this thing is that you're trying to pull in, this is what you're able to manifest. This is what you're able to realize in your own life. Hopefully it's a good thing, dag nabbit, because we don't want to deal with that kind of shenanigans, right? And because
mm,
there are those who will pull forward things that are nefarious. They will pull things through that will not be the benefit for humanity. But I think there are more of us than them. And if
yeah,
you want to realize that, you have to take the bull by the freaky deaky horns and make that happen, right?
yep, absolutely.
It just has to be. It has to be, right?
Well, that's the thing. If you don't, know thyself. Okay. So you have to get into the hard parts. You have to go acknowledge these areas of yourself, the darker side, the good side. Both of them require acknowledgement. Both of them are
Yes.
like, this is you go inside yourself and you go, okay, I need to take care of this because nobody does this. Nobody's doing this for me. And why am I so angry all the time? Why am I in such an anxiety state all the time? Who put me there? What is this all? Why am I in such a chaotic mind state? This reflects on your physical and in the exterior. This is is your house cluttered? Is your house absolutely organized? There's all these different aspects of telltale signs that we go, okay, once we start releasing certain amounts of baggage, this is what I said about lost and found. Okay. You've lost yourself, you've lost your way, you want to get back on track, but you've got to get rid of the baggage that's not yours. You found somebody else's rubbish. You found that the thing that you thought was holding you back all that time wasn't yours to begin with. So you let that go. You'll find ways to let it go. You can write a letter, you can burn it, put it out there in the ether, you can do all sorts of stuff. I've talked about this in the past. You can make contact if you need to, but I personally chose the route that I don't need to. I don't need to waste any more of my time or energy on anybody else's baggage and rubbish that they put onto me because that's not mine. Bye. I'm having my life. I've done that yakka. I've done the boots on the ground. I'm here in the now. And so what can I do to improve myself? Because yeah, I'm always thinking solution based. Logic. I love my brain. Okay. I love my crazy space. But back in the day, I didn't know that I could. I didn't know that I could shift out of the darkness that I was boxed in. And so by doing that, I had to go into internal and say, okay, what do I need? I need someone to shed some light energy onto these areas so I could see it. So I had to go within myself to switch on that torch because nobody else could find their way in my chaos. So I turned that torch on and then everything started to be revealed. And even now, at the point where I'm at, and I feel like, I've done a pretty good job considering, um, I still am surprised at what is revealed to me. But I don't take it as a bad thing anymore. It's like, okay, it's not a disconnection of emotion, but I can shift that emotional barrier so that I'm not affected by that emotion. And it's a skill we all have, but we have to allow ourselves to step back in and take control. Instead, it's guidance. It's not really a control factor thing. I don't like control. It's more of a guidance. I'm going to step in. I'm going to become my higher guidance, and I'm going to take me in the direction of growth. Now and then I'm going to end up walking through some shadowy patches here and there, but there's always room for growth. And this is the whole journey. This is, you know, when I'm looking at the word mistake, I don't see it as it's not a mistake. It's okay. Everybody around you might tell you that it's something that's wrong. You shouldn't do it for you. I mean, we know between the right and the wrongs. We don't want to go into this out and have the outcome hurting somebody else. Going in with good intentions, but we also got to be aware of free will so we don't cross that boundary and take away somebody else's free will. We've imposed our energy in somebody else's area. So there's all these different layers and levels that we explore within ourselves. And every time I hit one, I go, well, here's my 12-step program with what I'm facing. Yeah. What is the benefits? What are the pros and cons to it? And what is the fastest way through it? How much energy can I pick up? How much baggage can I let go of? It's getting pretty light here. My main goal was to levitate. And right in the early days, the messages that I got from all the beings and stuff is just be as authentic in yourself, true to yourself. You are the judge. There is nobody else out there that needs to judge you. You can do that job yourself. You know what's right and what's wrong. You know what's true and what's not true. You don't need to put on all these masks and everything else. It's easier to
Yeah.
be yourself. If someone is going to put on a facade so that they get friends or whatever, it's going to be short-lived. It's not going to be true. You can't say, oh shit, you look lovely. Oh no, you don't. You can't do that. You've got to be,
Like,
you know,
oh,
compassionate.
what a beautiful baby. And you're going, oh my God.
Yeah.
And not to toot my own horn, but there was somebody that I got connected to that ended up needing help. And that walking stick back there, I will never forget that young man. I will never forget him. When I went and picked him up and got him so he was in a safe place and brought him home, he ended up going on that show that you and I had previously been involved in, and he got on there, and it was like, what the hell? I have no idea what's going on. I'm just kind of here showing up, pushing buttons. And he said it's like he actually said that I was the real deal. And I was like, what? So, and you talked about masks. So here's the thing: what you see is me.
Yeah.
The birth name might be different for both of us, but what you see is who we are.
Yeah.
If I have a heart for people, I have a heart for people. I have a huge heart for people.
Yeah.
And not always necessarily, I mean, you got to kind of rein it in because it can be very, very hazardous to do that. Not just physically, but it can be that way emotionally. Yeah, I mean, it can be very challenging. So you do have to have some sort of a separation there, but that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that there's a mask there. If someone starts telling me some of the really bad stuff, and Stone, I know you've shared some things, but there have been people who have shared some very detailed things that have happened to them in their lives that you have not even come close to telling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I
So when
know.
people tell you that stuff, you have, it's not a barrier, but you realize that you can tap into or connect to, I don't like the word tap, but you can
Yeah.
connect to where those people are at, what they're experiencing, and that's how I can do a reflection back to help
Yep.
them a little more grounded and realize that, oh, it really sucked. And I'm there with you. Let's not live there. What,
Yeah.
let's not
Exactly.
live there. And the idea is when you get them to realize that they're grounded, you're 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 not moving them. They're moving themselves forward and they're able to manifest their own better reality.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that's what I did for that individual
Yeah.
who gave me the stick with the F word on it, and it's personal for him. And
Yeah.
it just made me laugh. Are you sure I said, oh, this is a really cool looking stick, but it says that, and I said that. I said, you put that on there, and he goes, yeah. I said, it's mine. It's mine. It's
Yeah.
in my car, right? You're gonna put it in my car. So I, that.
Yeah.
And I think I maybe heard from them one other time, and it's like, hey, I hope they're doing well. I
Yeah.
trust they're doing well. There's no hope. I
Yeah.
trust that people are doing well, but you know what? If they're not, it's on them.
Yeah.
You do your part and you move on. You don't snip the cord, you untie it, you unravel it for them to realize their own journey.
Yeah.
This is not your journey. Don't get so totally emotionally and invested in somebody else's journey.
Yeah.
Focus on your own. Bring
Yeah.
that back. And you're going to be, I'm not going to say you're going to be happier, but it's going to be a lot more enriching if you're going to be able to do something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that
Yeah.
was kind of deep for me on a Friday night.
No, it's absolutely right. It's, this is like keeping your soul protected, keeping your energy force, where there's so many different forms of energies out there that like to be harvesters, that, being able to step in there and go, okay, I can recognize that frequency and you can attune into that, you can align with that frequency so you can communicate along that pathway. I drew this little tunnel thing map on my page. So, and I had a vision this week and it was a circle, and inside the circle was a reflective triangle.
What's a
It was
reflective triangle?
it was like a piece of mirror, but it was perfectly
Okay.
triangled
Okay.
inside this centerpiece. So that was the circle, sorry, that was
Yep.
really weird. So that was a communication tunnel that they were showing, that there is more communications going on between people, tapping into, once we start releasing a lot of this baggage and stuff. I mean, it's not just one thing to release it, but we're known by the actions that we take. So once upon a time, I stepped up there as an advocate helping others. It was a journey for me to learn to help myself as well. All right. Once I got to a certain state of helping myself, it's like when I used to do the protests, I was standing up for something and all of this. And then I got all these downloads of stuff that was going on because I was interacting with all of these crowds of people. And I got to see other things that were going on, like the facial recognition with, the authority figures that were out there and the games that were being played. So then I like reeled myself back in, took a step out of doing the protests, and I got to see that this was everywhere. Protests were going on crazy, and it just seemed to be a repetitive pattern of going nowhere, leading to nowhere. But at the same time, there was this inner version of me that was seeing that this just wasn't for myself. This was for everybody. Everybody was being affected by this particular type of energy, and then seeing where the energy is being directed to or redirected to and then gathered, and then what they do with it later on. When I stepped into the version of myself that I could see that we were energy. This was when these energy beings came into the room. Now where I'm at, I now know that I just need to think of them, and that's the communication channels opened. If we can do that way, we can do it this way too. We can go inside ourselves and communicate through our child, through our inner higher self, and that will take us into our past lives, our ancestral selves, our ancestral family lines, if you want to take on that responsibility of doing those jobs. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know what it will do for us in the future, but I know that the work that I've done with the inner child healing has, each night before I go to bed, it's like doing a prayer, but this time I'm saying good night and I'm tucking in my inner child. This is the care, the love, the appreciation. And in the morning when I get up, I'm different. I'm a different person. It's like I've done some sort of untangling, as you put it, with this inner child. I have allowed myself these connections for more further communication. And by doing this, I'm going deeper into the child, through the child portal, and into the higher self portal. And it doesn't stop. It just keeps going. It goes wherever you want to. It's a fantastic adventure. you know,
This
we're going
whole
to have,
life is a
if
freaking fantastic adventure, right? Oh
oh,
my
we're going to have
gosh.
powers right across the board, mate. Okay. As
Yeah.
we're traversing, we're coming out of the chrysalis. We're detaching from the chrysalis. We're coming out, and we're going to see our reflection. It's going to be so bright. So, watch out for the shadows because they come with you.
Exactly, exactly. And we have to have that. This is really, if you think about it, how vulnerable is that particular position when you're coming out of a chrysalis as a butterfly? How vulnerable are you with the wings? Your legs are probably weak and your wings are still wet and collapsed, and you need that time. So again, maybe that's why that whole thing of, I don't remember what card it was. It felt like it was just like sequestering, closed off. You're kind of closing yourself off, and that's necessary, but the butterfly doesn't stay there. The
No,
butterfly gets out and takes its little trek, right?
yeah,
And that's it. That's how you make it through with what we got going on. This is all like really personal stuff that's coming up. It's got nothing to do with us. I don't know why this is happening, but um yeah,
well, put it out there.
and triggers is coming up. So triggers, I think, has been really
Yep,
kind of consistent, because I'm not gonna lie. This is how I detach from work, is I'll come home and I'll play with the cards. I'll
yep,
detach from everything that's happened throughout the day, say whatever needs to be said. I don't have something that's the same thing. I don't have like the same mantra. I don't have like a time that I do it. No, sameness drives me nuts. I think for me personally, I have to have the same thing, but in a different way. I
yeah,
don't know if that makes
yeah,
sense. But this is triggers, and the triggers has come up often enough. Childhood wounds, flashbacks, ready to explore, and caught in the act. And it doesn't mean somebody else catches you. It means you can arrest your own.
yeah.
Uh, can I say the S words? Our own
Of course
stupidity.
you can. Well, I don't have
Yeah,
a problem with
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then people are too easily offended at this kind of stuff. But let's face it, I've done stupid things. I'm not gonna kind of hard to hide when you do something stupid. Let's face it. So I kind of like, that wasn't the, I've heard it says, it's like, that seemed like a good idea at the time. And I
That's
was like,
right. That's right.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
So
that's one of the things that we do. At the time, we do what's right for us at that
yeah,
point.
yeah.
But 10 seconds down the road, it might be, sh-
What a moron.
what the heck? what the heck? Oh well, get back up and try again. Yeah, there is no
Yes.
miss. It's a mistake. Okay,
Yes.
it's a mistake. Oh shit,
Take
I
two.
started too soon. So now I'll
Yeah.
try that one
Yeah.
again. So
Yeah.
that's all it is. It's room for growth.
Room for
If you
growth.
are if you are
Mm.
aware, if you are aware that it's not a good thing, you are harming somebody, and you don't stop, you
Yeah.
get what you deserve. You get what do you deserve. I won't be there to help you.
Yeah, and it's kind of like that
Oh,
whole idea of consent. You gave permission. It may not have been informed consent, but it was still a consent.
yeah,
Okay, so you still did give consent, and the problem is that
yes,
most of us don't like the idea of saying, "Well, I gave consent," and I think this is the difference between ownership and victimhood.
yeah,
A lot of people want to play the victimhood thing, and I am not a survivor. I am an overcomer.
yeah.
I
Okay.
have overcome these things. These were presented to me, these situations. I have overcome them. I have beaten them. I am the victor. I am not a victim. I am the victor. And I think that's the difference of really coming into your own grounded sense of self, is realizing that, irrespective of whether you've been, someone of notoriety and or not.
Yeah,
When there's, oh man, I don't want to. So if you reach a pinnacle, because this is happening in all of areas of business right now, me being in the behavioral health, I've seen it happen to
yeah,
several people where they have had the pinnacle and they have this really high position and really well paid. And the next thing you know, they're down a notch. And then a year later, they're down a notch. And then another year later, they're down a notch. And there was a form of consent that they
yeah,
had was within them, without that, maybe beyond their consciousness. It's probably in their subconscious. They agreed to go through this process in order to deal with whatever it is they have going on in their life. Most of these people are they're somnics, they're sleeping. They're totally unaware. Um, um, yeah, God help them, because they're gonna need some real healing. We all need to, like, kind of reattach ourselves to what take ownership of the experiences that we've had. And that's one of the best ways to let go of the shenanigans that we've experienced in our past. I made the decision to do what I did. I experienced that.
yeah.
And you can sit there and say it was to a detriment, or, oh my God, how did you survive that? Oh, like hell if I know. I just know I made the decision to do this.
Yeah,
And, found myself in a position where, I was that country western song where I lost the house, the man, the dog, the car. I lost everything. No income. I had a suitcase of clothes. But if you keep that story moving forward, and this whole story spans to this day is 11 years.
yeah,
Good number, right?
yeah,
I was given my dog. I was gifted her. So I got
yeah,
I got my car, I got the house, I got a nice job, I got the dog. So I'm waiting for that other part, and I'm okay if I don't, because you know what, that's all part of it.
yeah,
Great if I do, and I would be pleased as punch. But I still have to be as open-handed and open-hearted as I possibly can, because
yeah,
that's part of it. That's part of the consensual aspect
yeah,
of being in this realm.
yeah. See,
Oh, was that too
yeah,
deep?
no, no, it was good. I'm careful with the whole concept, the whole consent concept. Anything that has con in the front of it, I'm cautious with. And, there's a lot of people that went ahead and did something just recently, last 5 years, and they were led into a false sense of, consent. We didn't make you do it. but you lined up for it anyway. You volunteered yourself for it.
But
But
here's
that
the
was,
difference. Here's the difference. There's a difference between consent and informed consent. So
yes,
when I do my mental health plans, there is a consent form for that plan. And some people will print it out and tell people to sign it. That to me is consent. I personally, and I've told several people around me, I'm sorry if you get bored, but if you want to be informed of the paper that you're signing, let's go through each one. So
yeah,
every person that I deal with, they have informed consent because I go through each one of those bullet points with them. Do you have any questions? I don't rush this. This is a big deal. They're putting their name on that piece of paper, albeit in black ink. They're putting their signature on that. But for me and my conscious and conscience,
yeah,
I am giving them, they don't have to sign it. I'm giving them an informed consent. So I feel like that's really the biggest difference. And you're right. That was a consent. It was not an informed
yeah,
consent. Because there
that's
were,
right.
you pulled those labels out, you pulled
Yeah,
those descriptions out, they
yeah,
were blank. They were
yeah,
blank.
yeah. No, there's a lot of, when I'm looking at the consent area of it, it's something that you've let go of. Okay, you've been conned
Yep.
into something. Your essence
Yes.
is consent, so you've given that away. Um, and
You've
I
agreed
see.
to it. I don't know if you've given it away, but you've agreed to whatever is on that particular
Yeah,
document.
whether you're informed or not, you've given some form of energy away,
Yes. Yes,
right?
you
So
are giving something away.
yeah,
And
so
you
when
are coming into you're under that. You're
yeah,
obligated.
yeah, that's right. You're under, yeah. And this is when I'm looking at things like this, because I live in the concept of inner standing. I don't
Yes.
need to stand under somebody
Yes.
else's
Yes.
limited stuck states. Right? That's yesterday. That's gone. Where I'm at now, it's okay, what is it you're wanting me to sign? Where is what my energy is going to go for? If I'm going to give you something, you need to tell me the facts. And if I
Yep.
find out
Yep.
partway down the line that those facts don't line up with the actions, then
Yep.
I'm going
Yep.
to re-examine the whole the whole information that I signed off to. Now, I hardly ever sign my name to anything anymore, so you
Oh
know,
God. Don't I
yeah, no,
wish?
I'm one of these troublemakers that come along and ask like 1,000 questions, and then they're like, okay, no, you're not suited for this program. See ya. You know, yeah, you're not playing ball, you're not a team follower, but I could be if I really wanted to be. So, yeah, being cautious, and I mean, one of the things is the questions. Allow yourself to ask as many friggin' questions as you need to. You're not in that classroom at the back of put your hand down over there, okay? We don't want to hear from you. That's why you're at the back of the class. So, no, I sort of look at it like, okay, this is my journey. This is an adventure. What do I want in this adventure? We've got mystery. We've got magic. We've got villains. When you're talking about the survivor and victim and all of this, these were part of my 12-step program, and it was okay. I recognized myself as being in this stuck state, which was
Mhm.
my victimhood. Who
Yeah.
put me in this stuck state? Well, how did it come about? Why am I the victim?
Mm.
Because this happened to me by this person against my free will, against my willing consent. All of these different factors. And then you come into the programming and the brainwashing. Well, what hurt? The abandonment, the actual physical abuse, the mental abuse. Where did you get those from? Who compounded that injury by questioning you that went nowhere? There was no solutions. It's compounded, compounded. And then you get the triggering. You know, you get the screens, the voices, the words, you'll hear something and you go, okay, now there, I've got to work on that. I've got to undo that. I've got to reframe it. I've got to take the power away that it has over me. So when I can identify what that trigger word is, then I can go back within myself and say, hey, my little inner self, what was it that hurts you so much with this? And if I'm friends with my inner self at that time, it'll lead me straight to the point because it's got that information. It knows the pathway and it will give me that information. And then I can go, okay, we don't need that anymore. We'll just move that baggage out of the lost and found bin. Um, then I've got that much more time to say what is mine, what isn't mine. And then I just about went off track again. Um, you were
Hey, you know
saying,
what though? You came up with something really good that we can probably kind of mull over the next week, because I think it's really important for us to talk about that programming. And that
yeah.
does
Oh,
have a
okay.
lot
Yep.
to do.
Yep.
Yeah,
You
we have a
sparked my,
lot. Yep, there's a lot,
yeah,
and we're not just talking about MK, but we're all subject to the MK. Okay, all of us,
everybody
every
is.
last breathing, functional, even the non-functional. Now that I've had, oh, several months of being with people that aren't able to speak, that have a lot of cognitive, society
Oh,
would
yeah.
probably
Yeah.
deficits.
Damages. Yeah.
They are deeply programmed within the system, and it's profound. Uh, but the programming, that's something that we really need to kind of maybe spend a couple of days. Maybe we connect later this week, maybe even this week. Well, it would be weekend for me. It would be Sunday. I'm pretty booked on Saturday. We got family and I got a meeting in the morning. But anyway, what do you say that this would be a good way to segue into that whole idea of programming, and maybe kind of,
Yeah.
throw the bait out there for people to kind of tune in next week for
Yeah.
us to do something about the whole idea of programming, because most of us have no idea what we've been involved with for most of our lives.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Self included,
Yep.
with the different aspects of the things that I've been involved in, and even what I'm involved in now. So we're going to have to be very careful. It might be something that we're going to have to figure out how to go live on Rumble. I don't know if this is going to be
Yeah.
appropriate for YouTube. I want to be able to freaking seriously, I want to be able to say what we need to say, and we have to kind of be a little dancy wancy pantsy with the YouTube shenanigans.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. No, we'll get that
um,
sorted out. We'll get that sorted out this week and we'll make it work.
oh, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, let's do, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll make
But
it work. But yeah, I agree with you with the programming. I worked as a deprogrammer for a while before I decided I'm going to be a navigator instead. And then I jumped out of being a navigator because, by then it got popular. I didn't like that.
yeah,
But
yeah,
but
so
the
yeah,
whole in any the first step is recognizing what is programming, and then we can deprogram and you can rewire yourself so that these
that's really deep. I mean, the whole idea of reprogramming, and I
yeah.
mean, we can go into the esoteric side of it, and we can go into the science side of it, which I'm pretty
Well,
pretty
you look at
pretty
your
familiar with
journey.
it.
This is about really going in depth into your own journey. This is everything. This is, why do your emotions react the way they do to certain stimuli? Why do you have physical reactions to certain things? Everything is connected. Everything within us is connected, and it has effect. Whatever we do has effect on us. Um, so yeah, I'm right into the deprogramming. Absolutely. There's nothing we can't change on that one. You know.
Yeah.
I
So
I I don't think
let's
there's
do some
anything I
independent
cannot
research.
change.
Do something scary, and maybe we can come up with something we can do on Rumble or something like that. We'll figure it out over the next few days. And so any last words, because we're kind of at the hour plus mark at this
Okay,
point.
okay, all right, all right. Yeah, just be nice to yourself, okay? Stay calm, be nice to yourself. Pat yourself on the back, give yourself that acknowledgement. You're so much more than, what they led us to believe that we actually are. We're so, so much more. There's so many areas that we're going to reconnect. We are remembering. We're moving into another age, another cycle. And we are the ones that are going to lead the way. We are the ones that are going to make the change. We need to do this. So it's good to have you on board if you're watching this and you're feeling it. Thank you for doing the work that you've done so far to be able to understand what we are actually talking about. So that's cheers from me, Oric.
Oh,
Big sigh.
yeah, there's been a lot of stuff going on. I'm not gonna lie. Really good, really good stuff. And I think that can be a matter of perspective. You can take something that comes along in your life and think that you got disrupted and interrupted and it's like, this really sucks. And I can't deny that's something. It's like I expected to be at this point in my life and I'm not, and let go of all that. That's kind of like the whole let go, refocus. What do you really want?
Yeah,
Both of us have the ability to help people achieve their goals. Both of us. Yeah, I'm weary from it, though confused. Yeah, I almost on a daily basis say that. It's like, I don't understand any of this. How did this happen? Because you want to stay safe, and I think that's kind of like the key to it. You
yeah,
feel like you need to stay safe, and I think the realization is, it's like, suck it up, Buttercup, because you are safe. You're the one who created the scenario and the scene that you're in.
yeah.
Enjoy the ride, embrace it, enjoy the ride, and embrace it, no matter how crazy it seems. Because right now I kind of feel like things are a little bit on the loopsy doodle side for me personally. And if you need focused, confused, dumb AI, I know I'm still stuck on the autocorrect. Screw
Ah,
autocorrect. That's messed up so many people's lives. I'm just right there with you. But anyway, we so appreciate everybody stopping by. Please do like, share, and subscribe. And we'll go ahead and, yeah, oh, I'm enjoying a ride, sweetheart, as well.
yeah, absolutely,
Yes,
absolutely.
ma'am.
All right.
Uh, um, yeah, so gotta shake that one
Next,
up.
yep, next week it is deprogramming
It
from the
is
pro.
it is programming and deprogramming.
Yep.
Um, yeah, we'll kind of talk about some of the things that I've gone to. Hopefully in October, I'll be able to connect with some more stuff on that. But hey, again, do like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah.
And I guess, Stone and I will see y'all on the flip side. Take care.